We are back in the black hole of real estate. And I was asked the other day if you really need to do a home inspection. And I thought it was thought provoking to me and really a bit of a surprise. So I want to talk about that today. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski, for the black hole of real estate. And I think it's always a good idea to have an expert do a home inspection. And I realize that there's a number of people that bought many homes that feel very confident they can do it on their own. There's contractors that feel very confident they can do it on their own. And if that's the case, I think that most agents are going to have you sign something that just says, hey, we told you, go ahead, do your own inspections if you want, but sign here. Or if you're not going to do any, definitely sign here, just acknowledging that you're either going to perform your own inspections and not hire anybody or not do them at all. Over the years, we have experienced where brand new homes, right from the builder, had some defects in it, and we have performed home inspections on brand new homes and found things that were super important to making sure that the house is in the right condition and that there weren't going to be any issues, down the road. The builder inspecting their own work. Well, think about that. If they made an error and didn't notice it throughout their process, they probably won't pick it up on the inspection. And there is always that moral hazard that maybe, just maybe, they could possibly miss something and just either overlook it or not tell you about it. And I'm not suggesting anything like nefarious. It just could happen. I'm thinking if you're looking at the same thing and you're doing all these other ones and you're busy, that there's the possibility that something can be missed. And I think an independent home inspector is well worth the money. It does one of two things. It either confirms that everything's okay with the property, or it identifies something that maybe the builder just may have missed, and that they would easily have done it if they'd have known about it. So a second set of eyes or a third set of eyes, to me, is always a super solid idea. Now, if you have a veteran home buyer and you feel confident about it, or you've gone and done the eyeball test, if you feel good about that, we can't be forced to do home inspections. I just know that I hire a home inspector personally, and I'm pushing 2,000 sales between mortgage and the real estate business. And I still believe that I want someone independent from me to look at the property and tell me what I need to know, even if I don't want to hear it. I would go the extra step that when I've sold properties, I've actually got a home inspection done up front and made that home inspection available to any buyers in full transparency that they can use as a reference, but that they could also hire a different home inspector to verify it. So this gives additional, I believe, opportunity for a home seller to pre-inspect the home and then allow other inspections. I know in my case, we had it pre-inspected. I got everything on there fixed, and then I included all the receipts as part of a sales package. Now, I've had some people say that inspection's good enough, and I don't need to do an additional one. If other ones say we still like to run an additional one, I say you can inspect all that you want. And the fact is, with the homes that I have sold, we were going to fix it. If I knew about it, I was going to fix it and get it right to ease the transaction and make things go better for both parties. So again, it's not required. There's some strategies, I think, that you could do around that. And if the home just looked perfect and you just want to buy it, people do it, and you can assume the risk. And as long as you're comfortable with that, then by all means, go ahead and run through it. Or maybe the price is so compelling that maybe the home inspection just isn't as much of a concern. But I think that's a veteran home buyer move to do that. It's a pretty bold move. And I think that even if you say there's no inspections, you're probably going to want one. I'm thinking a 4-point inspection and a wind mitigation report, in most cases, are required to get the best possible insurance on the property. So if you're not doing inspections, or you write an offer with no inspections, you have to get back and do a 4-point inspection in most cases. The wind mitigation will save you money in most cases. The insurance company, if they're asking for it, now you got to get back in. So if you're writing an offer that says no inspections, The seller could say, hey, go pound sand. It says no inspections. And I know your case might be, well, if I don't have inspections, I can't get the insurance. Like, again, go pound sand. You wrote the offer. So I would be super careful when you say no inspections. Okay, maybe it says to do a 4-point insurance and wind mitigation report for the purpose of obtaining insurance, but we agree to buy the house as is. That could be a negotiating strategy. So you still get the reports that you need, but that you're not going to ask them for any money off. And I suppose if you have that time period of 7 or 10 or 15 days or whatever it is, in theory, you could also go back and say, look, there's more damage here than I thought there was going to be. There's more repairs than I thought was going to be here. You could still give yourself the opportunity to cancel the contract if you're uncomfortable moving forward. And I'm not suggesting to have a renegotiation due to the inspections, although it does happen. In most cases, what is found in an inspection is something that the buyer wasn't made aware of by the seller in disclosures, or maybe was missed. And I think that's what we really, really want to take a look at right now is what can we do to ensure safety for the buyer moving forward. So I'm always going to lean towards the home inspection. Saving $500 or $1,000 or whatever the case might be might seem compelling in one way, but if there's a big ticket, $10, $20, $50,000 repair that no one knew about, then we've got the proverbial money pit of situation, and sometimes you can't afford those repairs, or maybe the extent of the damage was much greater than one would have imagined. There's times where the repair is like, oh, we're just going to swap out part of the bathroom. Well, what if you open up the walls and now you find mold, or it's concrete block, and you're going to have to bore through block in order to find the water lines or the waste lines, or maybe you can't move them. Maybe you want to position a toilet in a little bit different area. You may or may not be able to easily move it or move it at all based on what's in there. So I think there's a lot that we can investigate further to understand things. I'd like to know if there was something done there where maybe the permits weren't pulled. What about, in the roof strapping? It says a brand new roof, but was it strapped properly? Was it nailed in with the right number of nails or the right spacings? We had one, recently where they cut the rafters, in the truss to make more storage room, which made it so that the roof system was not properly done. The inspector probably didn't catch it for the municipality because they go on top of the roof. When they do the final inspection, they don't always go like inside. So it could have been missed, even if it's a brand new roof, because they only checked the outside. And when you checked inside, that's when we noticed, that there was a problem with the truss because they were cut to make storage. These things happen, and they're fixable. But would it make sense to know that just because it has a new roof doesn't mean that it would pass an inspection if the city walked in and inspected it on first shot from the outside? Okay, great, it's inspected, you're passed, done. But if they were to come back and revisit for any reason or a different reason and saw that, then they could flag that. So I can think of so many reasons why a home inspection is something that you should do. And the ones that I would like to suggest are the full home inspection, a 4-point, and the wind mitigation for the insurance. And then if there's a well, a septic, a pool, there's other things. If there's an outbuilding, other things that can be inspected. But at the very least, the 4-point, the plumbing, electrical, the HVAC in the roof system, pretty important. I would look at a termite inspection. It's a WDO report, wood destroying organism report. What that's going to report is damage from the termites. If it's if there's any evidence of termites, whether if there's live termites active on the property, or in the past you see that there were water could be creating a lot of damage in the woodwork of the house, especially around the door jambs and the garage door openers and things like that. Rodents. You could have some sort of a creature running around in the attic, and squirrels and whatever could be up there too. They could be chewing through wires. I could, God forbid, I could create a fire. I can just keep going with these scenarios without freaking anybody out and making it seem impossible to buy a house. I would just say, let's be educated and informed. And to me, it makes sense to have a home inspection on nearly every property that is being bought and sold. I hope that you've enjoyed a little bit of time today talking about home inspections. And, if you enjoy this, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Definitely let us know how you feel with your feedback and comments. And I look forward to you on our next episode in the Black Hole of Real Estate.